The tide wasn't due to start running our way until midday, so I declared a late start. The Happies took their wash bags for one of their 3-hour showers. No idea what they did in there, but they always came back fully refreshed. Jill and the writer had a walk around the town, while I got on with the important work that always goes with being a skipper. The writer took the camera.
Very good sand.
And that is dead right. The Murray does do lovely sand, which it whips up into simply gorgeous works of art. I thought North Norfolk would be hard to beat. Wells Bar gave me some of the best sailing days I'd ever experienced, where the combination of tide, gyre, waves and wind creates a brilliant place to sail. Then came Lindisfarne, where you can sail through an aquamarine fan of channels. You are inside a monumental natural sculpture, maybe even a small part of it. So I thought Lindisfarne would be hard to beat. But the artistry demonstrated by the pure physics of the Murray takes your breath away. She has lots of sand to play with and has created a whole string of beautiful, sinuous megastructures along her southern coast. To be able to sail or ride the tide into these places and watch them unfold and reveal themselves as incoming water takes over a whole landscape is an utter privilege. Then if you're staying the night or the day, you can drop the anchor or run her aground and watch as the tide retreats, leaving a massive expanse of sand. The sea stays away for hours, plenty of time to walk and appreciate the repeating asymmetry laid down afresh or subtly adjusted with each tide. The inexorable physics of earth, moon, water and magma have created layer after layer of beauty. Down through the tiny rivulets and micro dunes of the low tide geography, and almost certainly further down, making tiny tweaks to the scale beyond the perception of the naked human eye. Makes you realise what an astonishing thing natural forces are. Then, hours after it has gone, miracle of miracles, the water will return. Coming at first as an almost imperceptible trickle across the sand, but soon building to a block of water, thrusting inexorably landwards and filling every gap. But this is the physics of the now. The past is reflected in the 400-million-year-old red sandstone laid down when Scotland was a series of lakes and deserts in the tropics. The layers of sand got compressed by the millennia into stone that is made of bands of varying strength. In addition, this sandstone has been buckled until some is curved and some is almost upright. The waves, wind and freeze-thaw action turns them into brilliant pinnacles and caves. And as well as making spectacular shorelines, the thickness of the layers meant that the sandstone makes great paving material. Flat, cleavable, hard-wearing and offering a good grip to a leather-clad sole or a stone-clad hoof on a wet day. So an industry was born and Murray pavements are to be found all over the world. But it gets better. Some of it is old red sandstone, which, strangely enough, is younger than the other stuff. It's been used to face buildings from St Magnus Cathedral in Orkney to Goodrich Castle in Kent. And the 400-million-year-old sandstone is rich in fossils, mostly fish and hard-shelled crabs, and the occasional, much later band of rabbit-sized dinosaur remains. And just as exciting, their tracks left in the mud. But all this happened 400 million years ago, which is a timescale too big to comprehend. But what really created the landscape today was the Ice Age, which occurred 20,000 years ago, or, to put it into a human timescale, a mere 1,000 generations. a massive glacier came pouring, assuming you can use the word to describe a metre per year, let us call it pouring at a stately pace, down the Great Glen heading for the sea. But on the way, it was joined by another at Strone, then a second down the Bewley, a third from Cromarty, and a fourth at Dornoch, all bringing their contribution of random mountain scrapings and dumping it all where the icebergs were being carved. Then, as the ice retreated and the underlying land was relieved of its burden of frozen water, the land bobbed back up, and what had once been below the sea became the coast, allowing the waves, tide and winds to have a go at it. While the ice is like the Pickfords of geology, specialising in heavy lifting, the sea sweats the small stuff, relentlessly sifting, grinding and grading and creating the sand harbours of Findhorn, the Old Bar, Culpin and Whiteness. And that is what is still going on today. The sea is still sweating the small stuff brought here by the colossal Scottish glacier. So in geological terms, the Murray is a new landscape, a work in progress, which you can see happening in these sand harbours along the shore. With every tide, storm and wavelet, the sea is diligently sorting and grading as it creates these massive and unique sand sculptures. Ideal for an old bloke to explore and savour at his leisure. But I have young people aboard and a storm is on its way, so we have to make a dash to 40 miles along the coast to Lossiemouth, which will offer us perfect shelter, great showers, internet, shops, pubs and a good bus service, which will all help us to get through the close confinement that will accompany the coming deluge. So it was, we went past some of the best beaches and loveliest harbours in the British Isles. The first one we skipped was Whitehills, on an outcrop of clay dumped there by glaciers, ideal for making land drains and roof tiles, which is why the place exists. Then after Whitehills we came across one of the finest yacht traps I've ever seen. Easy to spot to some extent, but with some added extras streaming with the current. We swept past Port Soy, home of the world famous boat festival and voted best East Coast Scottish drinking session 3 years in a row, which is quite an accolade in anyone's book. Next up was the Fiddler's Bow at Port Knocky, one of the most amazing rock structures I've ever seen.
So Danny, you had a miserable day, so to make sure you don't, tell me what you've done.
I've got travel sickness tablets, 2 different brands. I've got Caramint travel sweets, I've got travel bands, acupuncture, I've got lemon and ginger tea.
And you're helming, and you're driving.
And so far I feel great.
Fortunately, Danny's potions were working a treat and the eternal lovers had taken to the foredeck, leaving 3 gooseberries in the cockpit.
Being on someone else's honeymoon. All the time. Oh wow.
We have, yeah.
We swept on west as the promised flat calm appeared, and then ahead of us we started to see the squalls come rattling down the Forth towards us. Early harbingers of the pasting yet to come. Escape looked impossible. And an hour out from Lossie the rain arrived, so I put the camera away and eventually we slipped into harbour for what would turn out to be a 3-day stay. But that evening the gap between the showers was just right and we had a great sunset, so we walked along the beach with a box of wine and built a fire to watch the sun go down. As we sat there, the dolphins put in their first appearance. Danny had never seen them before, and being a sort of dream catcher sort of person, declared it to be a spiritual experience. That night, the wind did as was predicted, and by the morning, it was blowing old boots. The writer girl, being a pragmatic person and an experienced sailor, had come along on the basis that as soon as the weather broke, she was going to head back to Leeds for the end of university debauchery. So, in an instant, she'd found a bus, and offering empty promises of a return as soon as the weather improved, she disappeared back south, leaving the four of us to sit it out. Mind you, the extra space was pretty useful. Lossiemouth is an excellent place to base a boat. The waves really hammered on the sea walls, but nothing penetrated to the pontoons. The showers are great and the internet connection is fast. The sea spent 36 hours doing some big-time sand shifting and hammering on the walls, and between showers we had a pretty good time, what with the astonishing beach, the marvellous sea caves and the good food.
One meaty, spicy thing.
Dylan's meaty spicy.
And then one veggie with pineapple and a half because Jake doesn't like pineapple.
You don't like pineapple?
No, right.
You don't mix sweet and savoury.
No.
The bad weather wasn't relentless, and sure enough it eased enough to let one of the charter yachts leave port. It looked entirely too rough for Harmony and Danny's stomach, so we sat tight.
Miles, look how they go.
The sun came out, and pretty soon we had another brilliant spinnaker day on our hands.
While we made a home, and I don't know if I could love you any more than what I'm feeling right now. Then tomorrow tends to show me there is more I can do for you somehow.
And let it back in, which means the wind's just getting around back, the wind on this side. So you kind of, the wind's always shifting slightly, so you just want to keep it on the edge of that.
There's a feeling in my bones says I keep it going. Where would I be without you? Oh, the time, look how it flew. All the heights we made
along the coast past the miraculous rocks of Cavesea, along the 5-mile long stretch of golden sand after Berghead, and eventually came to the navigational challenge that is Findhorn Bar. Charts are useless because the sand shifts about all over the place, especially after the sort of gales we've been experiencing, so the buoyage will be utterly useless as well. But with Jill on the foredeck wearing her polarising sun specs, we found our way in. And what a treat of a place.
We asked this chap in a cat to show us where places that we could go aground. So he said, follow me. So he's going to show us a nice flat bit where we can drop the hook. This looks like a little bay here.
Jake, Danny and Jill took the dinghy off for a walk ashore while I waited for the tide to leave. This is a perfect harbour with 360-degree shelter. The three of them had found a mussel lead, and it was shellfish for tea. Not for me though.